Namaste. Guru Rahu. What is Guru? Guru is Viveka Buddhi. Guru signifies conscious actions. It is the power of Guru that enables you to act wisely. It is the blessings of the Guru that enables you to act consciously. And when Rahu comes, what is Rahu? Rahu is temptations. Rahu blocks your consciousness. Rahu blocks your awareness. And when Guru is with Rahu, then what happens? You act without thinking. You act out of temptation. It is your temptations that drive you, and that is how you indulge in sinful act. Papa Buddhi. In our daily lives, constantly there is positive and negative. Positive and negative. Positive thoughts, negative thoughts. It depends on you, on your awareness, what you choose. Positive or negative. A person comes to you to seek help, whether you want to help him in the true sense or whether you want to exploit him. It depends on your awareness. There are many negative, cheap, offensive people who may comment negatively to offend you, to hurt you. By doing this, eventually they will end up in many miseries. But how you react, whether you react or whether you ignore these fools, depends on your awareness. So everything comes down to awareness. And the main planet, Guru, Jupiter, is the source of awareness. And when the Rahu is with Jupiter, then you tell me how difficult this conjunction can become. You may succeed professionally, but what about your self-growth? In the daylight, you may appear before the public as a gentleman. But what about your actual reality? What happens when it becomes dark? Many such things I have discussed about this Guru Rahu conjunction. Always remember, a conjunction signifies a certain quality, a Guna, that has been developed from your many past births. So it is not that in one night or in one life you can eradicate the negative impact of this kind of conjunctions. However, if your horoscope has a certain quality to it, if your horoscope has a certain depth to it, and moreover, if you are blessed, if you are living in surrender, if you have a grateful heart, then even such negative conjunctions can also be overcome. You can overcome this kind of conjunctions. However, for that, you need to follow a certain lifestyle. You need to turn inward. So there are many more such insights that I have shared in this podcast. Since the conjunction itself is difficult, there are certain facts that you may not like to hear, but that is not my problem. If you are not ready to face the facts of this conjunction, then you will remain where you are. There will be no growth to your story. So it all depends on how you take it, what I am sharing in this podcast. So let's begin. Jupiter Rahu conjunction outcome is totally based on the sign it occupies. If the sign in which this conjunction takes place is suitable to the nature of this conjunction, then this conjunction generally provides excellent results in education, show business, and politics. Some people are allergic to the word politics or politicians. However, they forget the fact that politicians are the ones who run this country. If we send all the politicians back home, then who will govern the country? But nowadays, it has become a fashion to ridicule politicians and government authorities. A false picture is created that it is only politics where you find corruption, whereas the reality is that in all aspects of human life there is corruption. Police force, military force, medical, forest, education sector, you name it, and you will find corruption happening in all the sectors of human life. Corruption is one significant reason for the downfall of human life. And when Guru, that is Jupiter, is with Rahu, corruption is very much possible than otherwise. It may happen that the native having this conjunction may not be inclined towards accepting bribes, but eventually, slowly, he is either pushed by his seniors or simply by the situation. Jupiter Rahu conjunction therefore can compel the person to indulge in corrupt practices. And so many fake ashram gurus or fake babas are also seen with this placement. The reason Jupiter Rahu conjunction is addressed as Chandal is because this conjunction comes with more possibility of pushing the native towards Papa Buddhi. What is Papa Buddhi? Pap means sin and Buddhi means thought process. So Papa Buddhi literally means indulging in sinful acts. For example, a beautiful girl is seeking help from you to find a good job. Now, if you take advantage of her difficult situation and exploit her sexually, then you are giving away to your Papa Buddhi, meaning you are indulging in sinful acts. Now, these sinful acts may not be known to the general public. However, somewhere up in the sky, these sinful acts of yours are getting recorded, for which you will have to pay later. So you see, Jupiter Rahu conjunction therefore is a very significant malefic conjunction, since the native easily falls for his lustful temptations and in the process becomes an utterly corrupt person. However, the catch is that the general public never come to know about the lustful or malefic intentions of the native. This is because the native is a perfect hypocrite. And so now, after discussing the tendency of indulging in sinful acts, Papa Buddhi, we come to the next attribute of this conjunction, and that is being a hypocrite. The human world is filled with many hypocrites who take the name of the Lord in the daylight, and when it is night, these hypocrites and so-called gentlemen indulge in all kind of lustful activities. So in the day they will chant Ram, 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 and in the night they will be found with prostitutes or exploiting young women and enjoying alcoholic drinks. And if you meet these hypocrites in the daylight, then you will be taken aback, because in the daylight they appear as a holy saint. Guru Rahu or Jupiter Rahu is a perfect conjunction that gives birth to such hypocrites especially if the overall chart of the native is poor in quality. However, even to such a difficult conjunction, there is a silver line. The silver line is that in certain good quality horoscopes, the native having this conjunction comes to the point of self-realization that he is a hypocrite. And when you tend to realize your shortcoming, then the door opens. And then you find the very first ray of transformation in your life. There was one such person. His name was Raghav, and his horoscope was of good quality, but it also had this painful conjunction of Jupiter Rahu. Raghav had started with meditation, and then after spending several months in doing regular meditation and chanting, one day he went to the master and said, "Master, I want to confess. I want to tell you that I have been a perfect hypocrite for many years of my life. But now, what should I do to overcome this nature of being a hypocrite?" The Divine Master smiled and said, "Raghav, it is good. It is beautiful that you recognize, that you confess that you are a hypocrite. This is the beginning of sincerity, the beginning of truth. Hypocrisy cannot remain long now anymore. Hypocrisy can remain only if it goes on pretending that it is not hypocrisy. It exists by pretending to be that which it is not. Once you recognize that you are wearing a mask, the mask has already started sleeping. You have become aware that this is not your face. The mask can remain on your face only so long as you go on believing, pretending, deceiving others and yourself that it is your real face. And the problem is, if you deceive others, you will start deceiving yourself finally. The person who goes on being cunning with others, sooner or later starts being cunning with himself. He forgets the language of sincerity. He forgets the language of authenticity. He forgets the language of truth. He has been lying so long that all he knows now is lying. He goes on lying. And if others start believing in his lies, because he becomes very clever in lying, seeing that others are believing in his lies, he starts believing in those lies himself. Naturally, when so many people are believing, there must be some truth in it. How can you deceive so many people? People are not such fools. It is good, Raghav, that you say, "I am a hypocrite. What should I do?" First see it clearly. Watch it, all its subtle ways, its whole mechanism. It must have gone deep. You will have to be very aware of it, and nothing else is needed to be done. Because if you do something, that will create reparation. And I am not in favor of much doing. My whole effort here is to help you become more aware of things. And the miracle of awareness is that whatsoever is wrong, the moment you become fully aware of it, it drops on its own accord. And whatsoever is right, when you become fully aware of it, it becomes your very being. Awareness is the most alchemical phenomena in the world. And it is good that a recognition has happened. This is a good beginning. The seed has fallen in the soil. Just go on becoming more and more aware. Watch each act, each thought, each dream, and don't do anything. Don't be in a hurry to do something. Just simply go on watching, taking notes what is happening inside you, how you are living your life, and slowly you will become aware of a change happening on its own accord. And when any change happens by itself, it has a beauty of its own. Once you self-realize your shortcomings, you can overcome it simply by being a witness to whatever thoughts are coming in your mind, but not acting upon those thoughts. Many a times this conjunction can also make you a victim of black magic spells. Some black magic spells are so dirty that they can force many unwanted sexual thoughts upon you. So much so that you would start thinking about sex and women, and all kind of dirty, erotic sexual thoughts may engulf you, making you feel helpless, and in certain situations you may also indulge in acting on those dirty sexual thoughts, which may eventually land you in jail, in imprisonment. American singer, songwriter and actress Madonna has this Jupiter-Rahu conjunction. As mentioned earlier, these natives indulge in much of sexual temptations. It is said that due to her constant usage of sexual content, Madonna faced censorship from many music channels. In fact, Madonna admitted she has a sex obsession during an interview, confessing that she regrets getting married both times. Michael Jackson also had this conjunction of Jupiter Rahu, and he too was accused of multiple sexual abuse accusations and police investigations, as well as civil and criminal lawsuits. However, in the public domain, both Madonna and Michael Jackson remained heroes, though in their personal life things were not as transparent as it seemed to be. Incidentally, both Madonna and Michael Jackson are born in the same year, and both had this sinful conjunction of Jupiter Rahu, a conjunction that corrupts you as a person, though professionally you may appear as a successful person to the general public. Guru Rahu conjunction attracts legal troubles, and in worst scenarios the person may end up getting jailed for a certain period of time. Rahu can be defined in two words: too much. And Lao Tzu, the divine master, says, too much is the only sin. Guru Rahu gives a tendency of going the extreme way. You become an extremist, a hardliner, a religious fanatic, and so one should control this tendency of doing too much. In certain cases, powerful persons such as political leaders and company executives with this conjunction seem to loot the general public so much that they are just busy filling their own treasury when the general public is starving to death. This Guru Rahu conjunction can compel the native to control his physical needs, to control his feelings, and thus this conjunction can push you into a life of repression. And then many nuns and many monks are born out of such repression. They simply repress their sexual needs. They simply repress their anger, and the end result is a fake monk, a fake nun, a fake saint who just grows a long beard, applies a tilak on his forehead, but in reality has absolute no real experience of self-realization. Reminds me of Shanti Das. The day Shanti Das killed his wife by throwing her into a well, a Jain monk was passing by. A crowd had gathered, and the Jain monk said, "This mind full of anger and violence will lead you to hell." The situation was such that the man said, "I also want to be as silent as you are. But what can I do? I don't know anything. When anger grips me, I am almost unconscious. And now I have killed my own beloved wife." The Jain monk said, "The only way to still this mind, which is full of anger and violence and rage, is to renounce the world." Jainism is a religion of renunciation, and the ultimate renunciation is even of clothes. The Jain monk lives naked because he is not allowed to possess even clothes. The man was of a very arrogant type, and this became a challenge to him. Before the crowd, he threw his clothes also in the well with the wife. The whole village could not believe it. Even the Jain monk became a little afraid. Is he mad or something? The man fell down at his feet and said, "You may have taken many decades to reach the stage of renunciation. I renounce the world. I renounce everything. I am your disciple. Initiate me." His name was Shanti Das, and Shanti means peace. It often happens, if you see an ugly woman, most probably her name will be Sundarabai, which means a beautiful woman. In India, people have a strange way. To the blind man, they give the name Nayan Sukh. Nayan Sukh means one whose eyes give him great pleasure. The Jain monk said, "You have a beautiful name. I will not change it. I will keep it. But from this moment, you have to remember that peace has to become your very vibration." The man disciplined himself, steeled his mind, fasted long, tortured himself, and soon became more famous than his master. Angry people, arrogant people, egoistic people can do things which peaceful people will take a little time to do. He became very famous, and thousands of people used to come to touch his feet. After 20 years, he was in the capital. A man from his village had come for some purpose, and he thought it will be good to go and see what transformation has happened to Shantidas. So many stories are heard about him that he has become a totally new man, that his old self is gone, and a fresh being has arisen in him, that he really has become peace, silence, tranquility. So the man went with great respect. But when he saw Muni Shantidas, seeing his face, his eyes, he could not think that there had been any change. There was none of the grace which necessarily radiates from a mind which has become silent. Those eyes were still as egoistic. In fact, they had become more pointedly egoistic. The man's presence was even more ugly than it used to be. Still, the man went close. Shantidas recognized the man who had been his neighbor, but now it was beneath his dignity to recognize him. The man also saw that Shantidas had recognized him, but he was pretending that he did not. He thought, "That shows much." He went close by Shantidas and asked, "Can I ask you a question? What is your name?" Naturally, great anger arose in Shantidas because he knew that this man knew perfectly well what his name was. But still, he kept himself in control, and he said, "My name is Muni Shantidas." The man said, "It is a beautiful name, but my memory is very short. Can you repeat it again? I have forgotten. What name did you say?" This was too much. Muni Shantidas used to carry a staff. He took the staff in his hand. He forgot everything, 20 years of controlling the mind, and he said, "Ask again, and I will show you who I am. Have you forgotten? I killed my wife. I am the same man." Only then did he recognize what had happened. In a single moment of unconsciousness, he realized that 20 years have gone down the drain. He has not changed at all, but millions and millions of people feel great silence in him. Yes, he has become very controlled. He keeps himself repressed, and it has paid off. So much respect, and he has no qualification for that respect. So much honor, even kings come to touch his feet. Your so-called saints are nothing but controlled animals. The mind is nothing but a long heritage of all your animal past. You can control it, but the controlled mind is not the awakened mind. The process of controlling and repressing and disciplining is taught by all the religions, and because of their fallacious teaching, humanity has not moved a single inch. It remains barbarous. Any moment, people start killing each other. It does not take a single moment to lose themselves. They forget completely that they are human beings, and something much more, something better is expected of them. There have been very few people who have been able to avoid this deception of controlling mind and believing that they have attained mindlessness. And these few people are the real saints. They don't grow long beards, and they don't wear saffron robes, and yet they are the realized ones. Sai Baba, Bhagwan Raman Maharshi, Avatar Meher Baba, Upasani Maharaj, Gajanan Maharaj, Swami Samartha, Samartha Ramdas Swami, and these are some of the fine examples of real saints, great saints. In certain cases, it has been observed that a Guru Rahu native has a secret wish of becoming a spiritual leader, someone who wants to mesmerize the crowd with his talks, and many a times this wish has come true, but the end has not been a good one, because you cannot fool all the people all the time. Someday the fakeness of Jupiter-Rahu gets exposed, and then the individual goes through a much painful time. Guru signify righteousness, Guru signify justice, Guru signify impartiality. However, when Guru is with Rahu, you tend to corrupt, and then you meet someone as ruthless as Joseph Stalin, the dictator of communist Russia. However, as mentioned earlier, if the horoscope is of good quality, then someday the native realizes his foolishness, and that day becomes the real turning point of his life. However, if there is no turning in, if there is no introspection, then the native simply wastes his life in fooling others, and in the process makes an ass of himself. Because when you fool others, you fool yourself too. Another significant trademark of Guru Rahu conjunction is the attachment towards things. Buddha says you are awakened only when these three sleeps are broken. One sleep is the sleep with things. Many people are asleep there. That is the grossest sleep. Millions of people, 98% of the people are asleep there. The first and grossest sleep, the sleep with things. One goes on thinking about his bank balance. One goes on thinking about the house, about clothes, about this and that, and one lives in that. There are people who only study catalogs for things. I have heard one story. One religious man was staying overnight in a family. In the morning, as was his habit, he wanted the Bible to read a little and to pray a little. The small child of the house was passing through the room. So he asked the kid, he said, "Bring that book." Because he thought the child may not understand what book the Bible was. So he said, "Bring that book which your mother reads every day." The child brought the whole earth catalog because that was the book the mother read every day. People, 98% of them are asleep in things. Try to find out where you are asleep, because the work has to start there. If you are asleep with things, then you have to start from there. Drop that sleep with things. People are so much attached to things. From the very morning they start cleaning their car as if that is their Bible and their God. Things is the first sleep, the grossest. If you are attached too much to things and continuously thinking of things, you are asleep there. You have to come out of that. You have to look at what type of attachments you have, where you cling, and for what. What are you going to get there? You may increase your things, you may accumulate a vast empire, but when you die, you will go without things. Death will bring you out of your sleep. Before death does, it is better to bring yourself out. Then there will be no pain in death. Death is so painful because this first sleep has to be broken. You are to be snatched away from things. So stop getting attached to things. This attachment has caused much misery in your life. It is a fact that close association of Jupiter and Rahu, Guru and Rahu, is indeed a very unfortunate sign, because even though the native may do well in his professional life, still he never is able to focus on his self-growth. How can you focus on your self-growth when you are too much attached with material things? When you are a hypocrite, when you don't have the courage to speak the truth, when you cannot see both the sides of a coin, when you remain biased and partial towards a certain ideology or religion. So there is much to work upon. It is not that every individual having Guru Rahu conjunction is bad or corrupt, but the tendency of indulging in corrupt practices is present. Papa Buddhi. Whether the individual has the ability to overcome these tendencies is totally based on the sign in which this difficult conjunction takes place and the strength of the sign Lord. Always remember, the conjunctions in your birth chart is a certain quality, Guna, that you have developed through the journey of many past births. So it is not that within a night or in just one life you can completely eradicate the negative effects of a certain negative conjunction. However, at some stage the journey should begin, and every journey begins with a small step, and that small step is daily meditation, daily chanting. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, and not entertaining corrupt, misleading thoughts. Papa Buddhi. Stay away from Papa Buddhi, sinful thoughts. Lahari Mahasaya, the Guru of Yukteswar Giri, always used to say, Banat Banat Banjai, meaning by putting small effort every day towards your self-growth, one day you attain the height of enlightenment, self-awareness. And so, all my close buddies and followers having this difficult conjunction, I pray that you all get the necessary motivation and guidance to walk on the right path, the path of the awakened ones, the path of Buddha, the path towards the eternal joy, peace, and happiness. Live, love, and let go all that which adds no value to your existence. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.